So far, so good. Let me just do a quickly recap of what we discussed so far in the past. Thank you. I don't know what's wrong with my system. I think it's kind of slow, but I will see what I can do. I'm still on it. Okay. All right. I started by introducing the leadership class to you, and also I also
Hallelujah. I think we have lost Father and Lord. He was trying to recap, and I'm a bit of a stickler of not taking myself. I think when we started a couple of months back, we started with the dynamic of visions. Vision is a clear mental picture that leads people to reach out to the future. We did dynamics of future. We did the 7 principles of vision. We looked at communication of vision and also preparing for the storms. That was lesson 1. Lesson 2, we looked at the benefits of vision. I don't know if you take notes as I do. Benefits of vision. We looked at the six steps in the path of vision. We looked at the application of vision as well. That was lesson 2. And then the second part of lesson 2, I remember we had 1 hour for finishing up vision, and then the other half of lesson 2 was understanding people and the basic facts of understanding people, understanding temperament types: choleric, sanguine, phlegmatic, melancholic, and then we dealt with all the type of people. I don't know if our Father and Lord is back online. Lesson 3, we looked at leadership and delegation strategy. We look at the decentralization. We look at delegation. What is delegation and the benefits of delegation? And it empowers others to be specialists. It brings quick and better decisions. So we looked at delegation strategies. We look at the misconception of delegation. 3 of them, I believe, that is written here: dumping, where we have to dump a task, abdicating, and relegating. Those are the misconceptions of delegation, and the requirements of delegation we looked at as well. And that was the first part of the lesson for that week. And then we looked at gifts and calling. We looked at gifts and calling as well. And I don't know if Father is back online. Don't worry, I've already done your review for you, sir. I already going, because I always take notes. I've already done the review, and then we did the 3 main phases of your calling. We did team building as well, and the principles of teamwork, and all the way to the key characteristics, leadership theories. We did, I think that was the last lesson, leadership theories. And then we did project management activities. And that's it. Back over to you, sir.
All right, thank you very much, sir. Can you please help me? Let me share my screen, sir. I would like to share the screen. I don't know.
Let me see. You're on HP now. Yes, you can, sir.
Okay. Okay, in case I have issue, I will continue. I think this system is actually hanging, but I will try. I'll continue even if I cannot share the screen. I actually thought I could, but I don't know, maybe the version of the system is kind of low. So let me continue. We so far so good. We've discussed a lot of things. I want to continue from where we stopped the last time. I think we talked about team leadership and team building. I think I have to start from there today. Let me quickly pick it up from there. I was able to discuss extensively leadership and team building. I gave us the introduction. I explained the leadership and management. I also explained leadership theories. I think where we stopped the last time was leadership theories. Let me quickly do a recap of that. I started by telling us some theories of leadership, and I said many different leadership theories have emerged, but most can be classified in 8. So I mentioned 8 of those theories to us in my last teaching, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
So I think I have to continue from there today. I'm trying to see if I can share the screen. I don't know what's wrong with the system here. So I actually explained, the first one I mentioned was the great man. I mentioned the great man's theory. I mentioned the traits theory. I mentioned the contingency, the situational theory. I mentioned the behavioral theory. I also mentioned the participative theory. Okay, I think, okay, 1 minute.
And then the relational relationship, which is translational, and then the management, which is transitional.
Yes,
transactional.
Transactional, yes. I mentioned participative management, and I mentioned the relationship theory. Okay, all right. I have done all those explanations. Today, I want to go into what I call the leadership style. In leadership, there are different style of operations. There are ways that people operate as leaders. You know, there are different style of leadership. There are no size. You see, every leader has his own side, the way he or she operates. There are things, the way you do your things that are people will criticize, but every leader has his own style. Yeah, I think the system is coming. It's just kind of slow. I don't know what happened. Kind of slow. But let me try. So in my lesson today, I will be talking about some few styles of leadership. So like you can see the introduction there that I have there. I don't know what's wrong with the system. Very slow. So I mentioned today I will be looking at what I call the I think there are 5 or 6 thereabout. I'm going to be emphasizing on the autocratic leadership style, the laissez-faire. Laissez-faire is a French word, so I might not pronounce it very well. Leadership style, democratic leadership style. I also have transformational leadership style. I put this thing moves, but I don't know what's happening. I also have what I call transactional leadership style. All of these I am going to be mentioning in my teaching. I think the version of this system is slow, so I will try and work on it. So this style of leadership is both directive and controlling, depending on your style of leadership. So I'm going to start from the first one, which is autocratic leadership. From the word autocratic, we all know what that simply means, that is, such leaders are autocratic in nature. I said this style of leadership is both directive and controlling. This style of leadership, the leader is always going to be in charge. The leader will make all decisions without consulting any employee. So such leader will always going to be in charge. He gives directives. He's always trying to be in charge of everything that has to do with the organization. So this kind of leadership is not, to me, is not the best, because it is a style of leadership that does not allow any kind of or any employee to have a say, no contribution, no matter how small, how big it is. This style of leadership does not allow anybody to contribute. The autocratic style of leadership limits employee freedom of expression and participation in the decision-making process. So, you know, in life generally, a tree cannot make a forest. In this kind of leadership, these leaders believe that they are in charge. They believe, oh, the organization is mine, and they will just come with any kind of policy and they will implement it regardless of what happened to their subject. They are not bothered about what happens to them. Their concern is that they just want to make things work. So they come and just, they are most of the time, they always come to command their subject, I mean, their subordinate, those who work with them. Autocratic leadership may best be used when companies are managing less experienced employee. It's good when you are just starting an organization and probably you have people that does not have so much experience as the case may be. So this kind of leadership can actually work. But when you work with great guys that actually knows what they were doing, a church, for instance, a multinational, for instance, this kind of leadership style, to me, is not the best because it actually limits people's participation. It reduces people's trying to contribute their quotas towards the growth of the organization. So in this kind of leadership style, sometimes it limits the growth of the organization. The organization might not be able to grow to the level that is expected of such organization because all decision comes directly from the boss, from the master at the top. And in this regard, the organization might find it difficult to move at a particular pace because the master is always coming to just give his own, is only coming not to advise, but to tell them this is what is expected of you to do. It's always commanding them. So autocratic style of leadership, most time it is used in military regime when the leader is always autocratic. They come and what they do is just to command people, this is what we would do. But those who actually understand military very well, most of the time is obey the last command. So autocratic style of leadership is mostly used in military dictatorship. So because they don't allow anybody to influence or advise what they want to do. They will just come and tell you, this is what we will do, and nothing will change the organization. But in the modern days world of leadership, it is not the best way of handling things because it will limit the growth of the organization. People of the organization will not be able to participate. There will not be a kind of contribution from any other person. As a matter of fact, the subject are like, he control them like a remote control, direct them to whatever you want them to do. This style of leadership is both directive and controlling. Like you see on my slide now, the leader will make all decisions without consulting the employee and will also dictate employee's role. So no kind of contribution comes from other person. They are always in charge. They always decide what to do. They don't allow anybody's contribution, but it actually limits growth because you know, when you allow people to participate or you allow people to contribute to what you're doing in your organization, every man has a kind of idea that will help the organization to grow. That's the first style of leadership. The second one I want to talk about is a French word. It's called laissez-faire. It's a French word anyway. This free-range form of leadership, it is to be successful, require extensive communication by management with employee. It is a style of leadership that makes the employee responsible for most of the decisions that are made and in which they are minimal supervised. In this regard, organization gives opportunity to employee. The master at the top, the leader, give opportunity. He give them like delegation. For instance, that we talked about some times ago, you give them so much responsibility to decide how the organization is run. So in this regard, they experience minimal supervision. They don't supervise them as you think because they felt they know what to do. That is another style of leadership. This leadership may be best be used when employees are educated. This style of leadership is best used when you have people that are educated, that are knowledgeable and self-motivated. It is only meant for those who actually have what it takes to handle what you've given to them. It's good, but you must be careful of those you select while you are choosing your people, your team member. Employee must have the drive and ambition to achieve goal in their own way. They must be willing to carry the organization to the next level. Like I said, as an employee must have the drive and ambition to achieve goals on their own for this type to be most effective. So in other words, those you are going to employ when you are applying this kind of style should be those who actually know what they are doing. Those who are educated, probably you have trained them to the point that you can be rest assured that without you being there or you not being there, they will be able to perform. This is the style of leadership that is handing over to them with a kind of minimal supervision. It's not a good idea in situation where employees feel insecure about the manager's lack of availability. It is not good for leaders that are insecure. You know, if you're a kind of leader that is always afraid of what your subject would do or your subordinate is going to do, this style of leadership is not recommended, is not the best, because you will always be afraid that they might take your position. You might be afraid, oh, they will take your responsibility. But once the leader knows what he's doing, he knows that nobody can actually occupy his own space. What he's doing is just to delegate responsibility and give them that what it takes to achieve success of the organization. The success of the subject or the employee is the success of the organization. So it's a very beautiful style of leadership, but the leader must be very careful when he's employing people or trying to introduce people to the organization when he or she wants to adopt this kind of leadership style. Another one that we are conversant with, it is called the democratic style of leadership. Democratic leadership. It is something that we are used to. Most country of the world implement this, even if we just say without acting or doing it. This style of management is centered on employee participation and involve decision-making by consensus and consultation. Like you all know, democracy is good. It's meant for everyone to participate in by kind of making consultation, consensus. We all agree on what we want to do in that organization. The leader will involve employee in the decision-making process, and they will encourage to give input and delegate assignments. Like the democracy we run today, like in Nigeria, for instance, let me use Nigeria as a case study because I live in Nigeria. The kind of democratic system we run in Nigeria today, you know, we all cannot be there to participate. That is why we have people that we are employed or probably people we voted in to represent us in the upper chamber, which is the Senate. You know, we can't all be there.
Hallelujah. It looks like our father-in-law is gone for a second. Should be back in a minute. Sorry, I've been talking to myself again. So like I was saying, Father has been talking about the leadership styles, autocratic, says fair and democratic. It should be back very soon.